everybody! Welcome to Polymer Clay TV. It's week 3 of a year of veneer, and today I'm going to show you how to make this complex veneer in the background and give you a couple tips on how to finish off and make something like a polymer clay trading coin. Let's start. So I've got some Sculpey Soufflé clay. The color is turnip. Love it. It's a really pretty sort of fuchsia color. I've got some Folk Art Color Shift paint. The color is Aqua Flash. I have my metal oxides and patina, and I'm going to use the white. And I have my TJ Floyd Enchantment texture mat, which is just pretty. It's kind of like a wrought iron fence. I like it. So what I'm going to do first is I conditioned my clay and rolled it to the thickest setting on my pasta machine. And I'm going to use my acrylic rod and roll over this texture sheet and get a nice, good impression. Roll firmly. And I just need enough to make that 2.5-inch coin, because that's what we're focusing on, where I'm going to make a veneer and then make a coin out of it. So that's how much I need. And the first thing I'm going to do, this is going to be sort of a 2-part veneer, is I'm going to take this powder and I'm going to swipe it onto the high parts of this design using my fingertip to highlight it. And try to make sure I get nice, good coverage of the whole design. Now that I've done that, I'm going to take the rest of that clay, and I rolled it to a number 3, a little bit thinner, and I'm going to lay this on top of here and bond the 2 pieces together. And I'm going to start rolling with my rod over the top layer of clay in one direction, and then switch it to this direction. And my goal here is to flatten it out so that it's just a nice flat layer of clay, but you're seeing that powder, and I can see that some of it wants to come onto the rod, so I'm going to just wipe off the rod in between so that it doesn't make a ghost image. And once I feel like it's pretty flat, then I'm just going to run it through the pasta machine to really bond everything and flatten it down. So next is the pasta machine. Now what you do next is going to be another texture sheet. So I'm going to use the swirl vine and do another layer here. So I'm going to lay this over my swirl vine and give it a nice firm roll. To pick up that second texture. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out and bake a piece of it. So I've got one texture over another, and this is going to form the base of a tile or a coin. So I'll be back with it baked. So as far as veneers go, this is your veneer for the day. This is veneer number 3 in our Year of Veneer. That's 2019's YouTube theme. So by adding that extra layer of detail with a second texture sheet, now I have something where what I intend to do here is bring out that second texture with a little paint. So actually the easiest way might be to shake this up so that I have a little paint in the cap to use. And then I've got a rag here because I want it to be very, very light and dry. So I'm almost going to take most of the paint off my finger and then swipe it across the top of the design, just to show through that little extra texture because I don't want it to completely overpower what's underneath it. You could do this with an ink too, with like a metallic ink, but I really love these paints. So I've sort of turned my little cotton rag here into an ink pad, so I can just pick up a little bit to tap it on top of that texture. I'm just going in and seeing places where I think it doesn't look bright enough and adding a little more paint. And that's it. So it's a very complex texture, and it has the texture from the first veneer in the background with the matte white. It's really pretty. While I was baking that, I decided to throw my paisley sugar mat in the oven too with some Sculpey liquid pearl bakeable medium. So this is really great for the liquid clays because it picks up all this detail and makes this really pretty design. So what I did is I used a brush to really brush it down into all the areas of the mat, and then I used my finger to swipe it off so that you can see through it. So it didn't completely cover and overwhelm the design, so now I can see through this design. And I'm just going to use a little liquid clay to put it on here because I do want to finish this off into a trading coin. So I'm going to use regular liquid clear because I don't want it to have any color behind it. So I'm just going to use a little of this to hold it on, because the only reason I'm doing this is because I already baked this. I'm just going to plop that on there, and when I bake it, that liquid clay is going to hold it on. And then I have one more little thing that I want to do. So I have some letter stamps and a piece of gold clay. So on the back side of these stamps, which I just picked these up in the scrapbooking aisle of my local craft shop, on the back they have the letter, and I just want to write out the word beauty, and these stick together like this. Oops, I thought I grabbed the Y. Hang on. So these snap together and you can write out a word, or you can individually stamp them one at a time, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. Perfect. And then just cut it with my blade. I like adding words to the coins. I think it's a nice touch. And for this one, I might also put a little liquid clay on the back since my coin underneath is already baked. And I don't want to press too hard because I don't want to ruin the letters. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay that on there. Let it sit for a couple minutes. I noticed fingerprints, I'm just getting that out. And there it is. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Polymer Clay TV, and that you'll come on over to Polymer Clay Tribe to get involved in coin swaps, and check out the blog at polymerclaytv.com where there are hundreds of projects just like this. See you next time.